I'll just very quickly, just who we are. We're Melbourne-based, Australian consulting partner. We've got a whole big range of customers actually, from people like Bupa all the way down to startups. We work across sector. We pretty much work with anybody who cares about security from an AWS point of view. So we do security reviews, we do pen testing, we have managed service that's focused around security, and really it's all about just making sure when customers get to the AWS Cloud, whether they're already or whether we help them get there, they do it securely, do it the right way. So they don't assume, because we've had people who got involved in, they don't assume that because you're on AWS you're secure, and just kind of assume AWS take care of all your security. They don't. They do a lot of good stuff, right? And we'll get to that, but you've got to do it the right way. So that's what we do. That's how we help our customers. I just today wanted to talk about Reinforce event and why Reinforce event was important. But first, I just wanted to talk about the modern security paradigms, and certainly when it comes to security in the cloud. So 3 pillars there. You could also call it the 3 superpowers that you require, and I believe every organization requires if you're going to be secure in AWS and on any cloud, but AWS today. First thing is around visibility. So this is a really great survey from Gartner, and what's interesting is it was about, do you care about being able to monitor your environment, particularly your cloud environment? Nobody said they don't care, right? So everybody cares about it. In fact, 80% of people said, we care, but we actually don't have coverage today. And that's a really kind of scary stat, right? I see a lot of our customers that say, we need to know what's going on. We need to understand if we're going to be breached or if we have been breached. And the next question I always ask is, well, how would you do that today? And they don't have an answer, and that's quite scary. So visibility, number one, if you're going to do anything when it comes to security, you've got to measure it, right? You've got to be able to see what's going on. And AWS has a whole bunch of really cool tools. CloudWatch, just to name one. GuardDuty, there's heaps of tools you can use. There's also third-party tools. It's really all about, if you think about, when we give our businesses data so they can make the decisions for the business, as IT teams are really bad at doing that. We just kind of, you're the IT team, you just go and work it out, right? Why can't we give our IT teams that data as well? And we can. So visibility is really important. It's all about being able to see what's going on in those environments, being able to have that data. And the next question then is, right, I've got all this data, what do I do with it? And that's the second superpower. That's about your analytics. So I've got a whole bunch of data. It's coming from all these different sources. It may be AWS, it may be an application, it may be Office 365. It could be anywhere, right? What do I do with it? How do I know that I've actually got something of interest? I've got an event that is actionable I can do something with. That's what analytics is all about. And the way we do analytics, and we believe everybody should, is really being able to not just look for patterns, that traditional way of doing security, but looking at behavioral changes, looking for events you've never seen before. So analytics is really about picking through this kind of haystack and finding those needles that I actually need to do something about right now. And when I say right now, we talk about superpower number 3, and that's automation. If we had everybody in this room as security analysts, we're still not going to beat all the guys out there, the nation states and everyone else out there who are always probing, okay? The only way we're going to solve that is through automation. A lot of things that happen, somebody opens up a port they shouldn't, somebody changes the security group they shouldn't, somebody gives an EC2 instance of public IP that they shouldn't. We know how to remediate that. So automation is our friend. So really, this is really key. I always say the best security analyst in my team is Lambda. They're on 24/7, they never make a mistake, and they just do what they're told. They never question, they're never sick, right? Automation is how we fix the things that we know how to fix. That leads us to things that are unusual that we actually need to analyze, and that's the way it should be. So those are the 3 superpowers. Which brings us on to Reinforce. So Reinforce was held in June this year. It was in Boston, and it was AWS's first global summit outside of reInvent. And the first question you might ask is, well, why did they focus on security? Why Reinforce? There's a lot of talk about machine learning, a lot of talk about serverless. It could have been any of those things. So security is job zero at AWS, and there's a lot of stuff that people need to think about from a security point. Please join us. We're kind of doing a bit of a fireside. You can wear headphones or not because we're close. So yeah. There's a lot of things you need to think about in security to make sure you're doing it right. and AWS provides a super rich ecosystem to help you do that. You know, from a government point of view, they've got 42 services which are now covered for protected status, or 46 depending on your point of view, depending how you measure, but a lot of services. So this was a really significant event for AWS. The reason we were there is because, you know, security is our specialization, is our superpower. We need to make sure that, you know, we understand what the industry is doing, what the market is doing. So Boston's a long way to go, but it's important to us. So I just want to take you through the kind of 4 major themes that we drew out of Inforce. And the first one, sorry, I was going to cover this first actually. I talked about this before. I mentioned it before, when you're in the AWS Cloud, people think, oh, I'm in the cloud, I'm secure, right? So traditional view is that, you know, AWS covers your physical side, they cover the shared responsibility model, they cover the data center, they cover a lot of the infrastructure and the network. Everything above that, operating system, application configuration, how you use S3, how you use the services, that's up to you. And that line's starting to creep up. As people are doing more serverless and using more managed services, that line's starting to creep up, right? But today, for most of us who are still using EC2, you know, we're worrying about encryption, we're worrying about traffic flow, we're still worrying about operating systems. And that's going to stay as it is for a long time. We're all going to be doing that for quite a while. That's just a bit of background. Let's get on to the themes. The first theme was AWS are trying to put security into the hand of everybody. You know, AWS talk about making their platform available to the builders. Security is a part of that. So let's not talk about the security's the team over there. It's like, I write some code, I don't know about security, the security guys do that. You don't need to do that anymore. AWS have a whole bunch of services that is available, easy to use, cheap, and some of them are free. It's available for all builders out there. Some of those, you know, things like CloudFormation. You think CloudFormation is not a security tool? Well, absolutely it is, right? If we're doing infrastructure as code, if we're building environments using templates and using standard patterns, we know what we're building, right? Secrets Manager, you know, great way to keep your credentials, how I talk to a database. AWS WAF, it's all managed service, right? So there's some fantastic tools. AWS has 27 security tools now. That's a huge amount of security tools. Second key thing for us is getting away from that concept of the no team. You know, the traditional view of the security guys, I don't want to talk to them, they're just going to say no. They're going to shut me down. Security now is, when you look at the cloud, it's really an enabler. We can actually build security into everybody's job day zero, okay? We can help them deal with security not 2 weeks before go live at a pen test, when the product manager signs off the faults that are found as risk, and goes, that's okay, I'm not delaying go live, sign it off we go. We can help people build that into job zero, build it into day zero, build it into their day to day. So how do we put that security testing into your pipeline? There's a whole bunch of tools that we can use today. This is obviously just a subset that we can use today that just makes it super easy for us to enable security, you know. Encryption, KMS, right? AWS recently announced, one tick, you can turn on encryption of all your volumes that you ever create from now on by default. Never have to think about it, doesn't cost you anything. It's free from a performance point of view, just do it, you know. Dan's like, no one's watching, encrypt like everybody is. It's free, just do it, okay? Security is no longer a blocker, it's absolutely a driver. Third theme is really around this visibility I talked about before. This is some data from Rapid7. The average time for people to realize they've been breached, 92 days. 92 days. How much data has gone in 92 days? British Airways had a breach of their booking system. It took them nearly 3 weeks to find it. They were fined $300 million for breach of GDPR. That's a lot of money. Any organization is a lot of money. It's terrible reputation damage as well. So it's really all about that. Let's not wait to the audit. Let's have that real-time view of compliance and security. Let's use the tools that AWS has for that, and third parties like Rapid7, like Sumo Logic. It's GuardDuty, it's Inspector, you know, it's CloudTrail. They're all in the box. CloudTrail is my all-time favorite service. Kind of very geeky from a security point of view, but it has this amazingly rich capability. You know, the ability to be able to see every action anybody has ever done on any asset that may or may not still exist in your environment. That's incredible, right? And it's just there, turn it on. Make sure you're using all these. These are kind of, maybe not, but the rest, absolutely, you should be using them. And the final one is really around automated response I talked about before. You're never going to be able to have enough people to deal with all the things that come up. Automation is there now. It's in the box. You can use it. You don't have to go and build it and spend hundreds of thousands of dollars tooling it. You can do it yourself now. You can use CloudWatch. You can use config. You can Lambda. Please, please, please. Just like Lambda's your friend. Auto scaling as well. Not a security tool. Well, yes, it is if people are trying to probe and people are trying to do a denial of service. It's a way you can keep your service running. So automated response is massive. It's going to get bigger. Obvious question now is, what about new stuff? Surely there was some new stuff. Well, yes, there was. VPC traffic mirroring. It's been in a request for a while. VPC traffic mirroring is like anybody who knows networks, ability for you to put a virtual tap into the AWS network, into your VPC, stream the data. So you stream the actual packets. It's not like flow logs. It's not an aggregated kind of metadata view. These are the actual packets. You can push that into whatever you traditionally used to actually capture and analyze, do deep packet inspections. Really cool, amazing tool, very cheap. Security Hub, been around for a little bit in preview, it's now GA. It's a way you can bring all your alerts from guard duty, from CloudWatch into one spot, so you can really start to say, what do I need to look at? And the other major one was Control Tower. Control Tower is the productized service for Landing Zone, which is a kind of AWS best practice for a multi-account structure using guardrails, using standard security, using centralized logging. Control Tower is now a one console, click and off you go. Off you go. Really cool, really cool. So where do I get started? How do I get going? Build security into your culture. Really, really think about how I can do security day one across your whole teams. Don't have a separate security team. Yes, you're always going to have security specialists, but have security teams, on the whiteboard. When you're designing stuff, security people or people who understand security should be there. Think about how you're doing security all the way through your tool chain, all the way through your life cycle, and really, really build that in. The tools are there. There's no reason not to do it now. It's just actually pretty easy to get going on that. And again, you don't have to do everything day one, right? You're not going to build automated response day one. But you can start with visibility, start with capturing data, start seeing what's going on in your environments, and then you can start to analyze that, and then you can build that automation. One day you want to get to a place where people spin up new services and you just know about them, you see them, you drop your security agents on them, you scan them automatically. Nobody needs to send you a ticket to do that. And you get to the other end where basically, you're automating that response, you're automating everything that you can automate, and you're really only getting out of bed for the problems that you can't solve. But just get started, because we all know we just want to start cutting, right? Measuring's kind of important, but it's not that exciting. Cutting stuff is exciting. And with that, I will wrap up, very rapid fire. Any questions?